I'm Burton Klein here on CCP TV, the educational channel of Community College of Philadelphia. And today, ladies and gentlemen of the viewing audience, we'll be talking about nostalgia, the way things used to be. But young folks, don't turn it off now. Don't turn it off and you'll learn why in a moment. But let me liken nostalgia to something. You know, they say nostalgia is like a grammar lesson. One finds the present tense and the past perfect. Nostalgia. Nostalgia ballads will be the subject today, with a little history thrown in, so young folks, stick by it again to pick up a little more history you might need for some of your classes when you go to school here at Community College of Philadelphia. But also, young folks, don't turn it off, because my wife and I are always watching and listening to Beyonce and Fergie and Natasha Bedingfield, Shania Twain, Taylor Swift, Jordan Sparks, Michael Bublé, Harry Connick Jr. Stick with it. Nostalgia, the nostalgia ballads. And let's start with one from 1924. 1924, the song was It Had to Be You. And I can't sing, folks. You'll find that out as I go through these ballads. But don't turn it off. Bear with the singing, as well as, young folks, with the nostalgia. It had to be you. It had to be you. I've wandered around and finally found somebody who, 1924. And 11 singers sang that song in 1924. 11. It was not a hit until some guy, I think you might have heard of him, I did too. Oh, I got it, Frank Sinatra. He made that song a hit in 1940. 16 years later, It Had to Be You. And history lesson-wise, what was happening in the world in 1924? My old French teacher at West Philadelphia High, if I would have said Chamonix, she would have yelled at me. Because Chamonix is pronounced Chamonix. In Chamonix, France, in 1924. Then they called it the Winter Carnival, but became known, ladies and gentlemen of the viewing audience, as the Winter Olympics, starting in 1924. 1928, the song Embraceable You. Don't turn it off now, I'm going to sing again. Embrace me, my sweet embraceable you. Embrace me, my irreplaceable you. Sung by the wonderful Ella Fitzgerald. And what happened in 1928 of significance? Well, the President of the United States at that time was Herbert Hoover. We're going along with our nostalgia ballads now. Now remember, young folks, I'm a fan of Taylor Swift and Jordan Sparks. Don't turn it off. 1929, Stardust. The song was made by Hoagy Carmichael. Sometimes I wonder why I spend the lonely night dreaming of a song. The melody haunts my reverie. And folks, what happened in 1929? The stock market crash of 1929. We move along now to 1931. And by the way, these nostalgia ballads are the nostalgia ballads of my wife and me. They may not be yours, but I think I'll hit a chord with some of you. And young folks, stay with me now. As time goes by, you must remember this. A kiss is still a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by. And that was in the movie Casablanca, starring Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman, among others. And you remember, you heard about this. This guy, Humphrey Bogart, they say he said these words in the movie, "Play it again, Sam." But he didn't say the word Sam. Ingrid Bergman said that. Humphrey Bogart simply said, "Play it again." And who did play that? And who did sing As Time Goes By? The singer and the actor, Dooley Wilson, a smash hit in the movie Casablanca. We're going to jump now 8 years, from 1931 to 1939. I'll Never Smile Again. The aforementioned Frank Sinatra. I'll never smile again until I smile at you. But there's something more significant about the song I'll Never Smile Again. You see, at Frank Sinatra's funeral, May 20th, 1998, in Santa Monica, California. That, ladies and gentlemen of the viewing audience, and young folks, I hope you're still with me, that was the backdrop song for the funeral. I'll Never Smile Again. He never did he? And what happened of significance in 1939? The start of World War II. Also 1939, All or Nothing at All. Dick Haymes was the singer. All or nothing at all, half a love never appealed to me. And 1939, what else happened in that year? Sigmund Freud passed away. But we're not done with 1939, folks. 1939, this is amazing. It's All the Things You Are, sung not by Dean Martin, but by Tony Martin. You are the promised touch of springtime that makes the lonely winter seem long. Now this is amazing. What else happened in 1939? The first baseball game was on television. Yes, it was. I will not lie to you. Cincinnati playing Brooklyn. 1939. Well, we're out of 1939. We're going to 1943. The song is You'll Never Know. You'll never know just how much I love you. You'll never know just how much I care. Sung by Vera Lynn, a marvelous young lady. And what happened of significance that year? Seems funny that I'm going to mention a movie, but I am. The movie was Jane Eyre. Remember Orson Welles? Remember Joan Fontaine? You'll never know until you see that movie. 1944. Did I say Sinatra before? I'm going to say it again. I'll be seeing you. I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart of mine embraces all day through. 1944. The D-Day invasion. Yes, indeed, 1944. Again, 1944. And this is Eydie Gourmet. Saturday night is the loneliest night of the year, 'cause that's the time that my baby and I used to dance cheek to cheek. Eydie Gourmet, 1944. Normandy beaches. Normandy beaches and D-Day invasion were actually one and the same, but significant for the year 1944. We're going up 1 year now in Nostalgia Ballads. Young folks, don't leave now. You need this history for your classroom, you know. 1945. And a man named Perry Como sang a song called Till the End of Time. But before I give you a break and not sing Till the End of Time, let me tell you a story about Perry Como, whose real first name, by the way, was Perino, born in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania. And one would never know from his television broadcast that went for many, many years. But Perry Como, Perino Como, was very, very nervous, very, very tense. And he went in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania, to a doctor named Dr. Peter Grondiazowski. Don't ask me how to spell that, please. And he said, Dr. Grondiazowski, what can I do on television to make me seem like I'm not nervous? What can I do to make me come across as being calm and cool and collected? And Dr. Grondiazowski said two things, Mr. Perry Como. Two movements of the hand. One is when you come on your television program, not while you're singing, go like this, touch your ear. Ah, yes, calm. And Mr. Perry Como, another thing. Before you sing your song, put your hands to your face like this and leave it there a while. Not only did it look like Perry Como was calm, but indeed something psychologically made him become a more calm person. But oh yes, I said the song was Till the End of Time. Till the end of time, long as stars are in the blue, long as there's a bird, not birds. I'll go on loving you. Long as there's a bird flying, I'll go on. Not birds. It means we're down to the last bird of all eternity, of billions of birds. Isn't that beautiful? A nostalgia ballad. Yes, indeed. And now we're going to 1950. We're going to stick with Perry Como. If they made me a king, I'd be but a slave to you. And folks, if you're old enough to remember, or young folks, the history books will tell you, that was the year of the Kefauver Commission. And I won't delineate what that was for two reasons. Number one, I'm not well versed in it. And number two, well, who cares? But 1950, and I'm teasing you, of course. 1951. From Philadelphia, Mario Lanza. Be my love, an operatic voice. Be my love, for no one else can end this yearning, this love that you and you alone create. 1951, the first color television in the world. 1951. We're staying with 1951. We're going now to Tony Bennett, Because of You. Because of you, there's a song in my heart. Because of you, my romance had its start. Because of you, the sun... Tony Bennett, 1951. The CCNY basketball scandal. City College of New York, 1951. 1952. Why Don't You Believe Me? Now, young people watching this program, young people watching this program, why don't you believe me that you're going to pick up a little history? Yes, the nostalgia is not that bad, is it? Why don't you believe me, Joni James, Joni? Why don't you believe me? It's you I adore. Forever and ever, can I promise more? And that's the year, is it possible, that Herman Wouk won the Pulitzer Prize for the Caine Mutiny, 1952. 1954. Only three now. 3 coins in a fountain, each one seeking happiness. And 1954, the first kidney transplant. I kid you not. 1955, the marvelous Al Hibbler, Unchained Melody. 1955, you know the significance. Rosa Parks was told to move to the rear of the bus. Thank goodness she didn't. Oh, my love, my darling, I've hungered for your kiss. Touch a long, lonely time. Unchained Melody. We stick with 1955. Love is a many-splendored thing. Love is a many-splendored thing. It's the April rose that only grows in the early spring. And who sang it? Jerry Vale sang it in 1955. And what's the significance in 1955? Not only Rosa Parks, but Disneyland opened. What a happening. The kids love it, and we as adults do too. 1956, there was a show called Carousel. And the featured song in Carousel, sung by Shirley Jones, If I Loved You. If I loved you, time and again, I would want to say, all I'd want you to know. 1956. And that was, believe it or not, my goodness, the Eddie Duchin story with Kim Novak and Tyrone Power. 1956, is it possible? Yes, indeed, it is possible. And now we go to 1958. In 1958, this song was sung by a man who used to run track for UCLA. This man is Johnny Mathis. Johnny Mathis is 74 years old today. The song was A Certain Smile. A certain smile, a certain face. Johnny Mathis, 1958. And in 1958, the Dodgers played their first game in LA, moving from Brooklyn to LA. But wait a minute, let's get back to Perry Como. Perry Como, nostalgically, historically, is one of the most philanthropic people, entertainers of all time. You know, young folks, Adele now gives a lot of money to charities. Taylor Swift gives a lot to charities. Beyonce gives a lot to charities. Michael Bublé gives a lot to charities. People I mentioned before, Fergie, Natasha Bedingfield, Pat Benatar, Brianna, they all give to charities, but Johnny Mathis gives the most to charity per capita for the amount he earned of any entertainer of all time. Once my wife and I were in Paris, and in Paris there's a theater called the Olympia Theater. And we said when we were in the hotel, who's playing in what theater? And they said to my wife and me, there's some man named Johnny Matisse playing in the Olympia Theater, but you do not want to see Johnny Matisse. We do not know who he was. But indeed, we did know, as millions know, Johnny Mathis, the most philanthropic entertainer of all time, even more than Old Blue Eyes, Francis Albert Sinatra, Frank Sinatra. 1959, we move up 1 year. Dinah Washington. What a difference a day makes. 24 little hours. And what was a major thing in 1959? Holy moly, the Barbie doll came into existence. Absolutely amazing. The Barbie doll. And there are people today, as you well know, who collect Barbie dolls. And there's someone just in the news in the last days, in this month of May 2013, that has a Barbie doll collection, which is now valued, I believe, I read, at over $5 million. 1960. There's sadness to this song. It was sung by the Platters, a marvelous group. To refer to my wonderful wife again, we saw them recently, the Platters. They're still intact, the original 4 Platters. Harbor Lights. I saw the harbor lights. They told me we were parting. So one person in love with the other person. One person's on shore. One person's on the boat. And the harbor lights become dimmer and dimmer. They were parting. How sad. You know, before I get to the next year, 1962, I'm talking now particularly to the young folks. So folks who are old and decrepit, like the one speaking before you, you can sort of turn your mind off for a moment. I'm not going to mention the song, but it was voted the top song of the year 2012. And the song, I won't mention the one who sang it. Sexual innuendos in it. A little more than that. The top song. Young people watching, don't be angry with me. But nostalgia ballads didn't have that type of thing. They had lovers who were parting and the lights became dimmer as the boat left the shore. 1962, Bobby Vinton. Bobby Vinton, you know, played a lot in Branson, Missouri. Yes, he did. And Bobby Vinton's song was Blue Velvet. She wore blue velvet. Bluer than velvet was the night. Now, you won't believe what I'm going to tell you. You can Google it. You can check it. You can look in the history books. 1962, the passing of Marilyn Monroe. My goodness, 1962. It's 51 years ago. It's impossible. 1964. And before I tell you this significant song of 1964, let me once more go back to Francis Albert Sinatra, the one whose funeral, May 20th, 1998, they played a signature song of his, I'll Never Smile Again, which we referred to earlier. Frank Sinatra did something for his fellow singers, both men and ladies. Frank Sinatra, as you well know, young and old folks, was known for his phraseology, the phrasing of his singing. Well, he took this one song, sung by Dean Martin, and it made a hit for Dino. Everybody loves somebody sometime. And let me tell you what Frank Sinatra did for Dean Martin, which helped to make that song a smashing hit. First of all, the words. Bear with me now. Please bear with me. This is going to be the last song I'm going to sing for you. Everybody loves somebody sometime. Everybody loves somebody sometime. Everybody falls in love somehow. Something in your kiss just told me that sometime is now. Now, what does Sinatra do to make that song a hit for Dino? Let's go back for a moment. Everybody loves somebody sometime. Sinatra said to him, in essence, Dean Martin, don't just say everybody loves somebody sometime. Everybody loves somebody sometime. And then later on in the song, sometime is now. So Frank Sinatra taught Dean Martin that phraseology. Nostalgia is like a grammar lesson. One finds the past perfect and the present tense. But young folks, whoa, 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 whoa. Your olden times will be now. When you get to be old and decrepit like your speaker today on CCP TV 53, you'll look back and, am I mentioning again Beyonce and Jordan Sparks and Michael Bublé and Brianna and Fergie and Taylor Swift, Shania Twain, Natasha Bedingfield? Yes, I am. Because that will be your nostalgia. But folks, if you haven't figured it out already, it's already part of my nostalgia, the current soft rock singers. Nostalgia, the way things used to be. It might be the way things used to be just 10 minutes ago, or 20 minutes ago, or 5 days ago. Anything from the past. Well, that's all the time we have for today, folks. I want to thank you for joining us on CCP TV, the educational channel of Community College of Philadelphia. See you next time. Thank you.